Good evening and welcome to Northern Nights.
Hello.
This is a virtual open house presented by Northern Michigan University. My name is Bill Dignite and I am the department head of NMU Theater and Dance in the School of Music, Theater and Dance. Fun fact, I'm an identical twin and I'm a graduate of Northern Michigan University, class of 2008. I left for a long time and I have now come back to be a professor here imparting knowledge on young people such as you out there. We're excited to meet you. But what's going to be more exciting is that you're going to meet some of these students that were just like you a few years ago and figuring out what they were going to do in their next step of life and their big educational journey into becoming an exciting human that's going to have a job or a career. So I'll be your host for the Arts, Communications, and Humanities student panel. We're going to have Q&A feature turned on, so remember to turn that on. So students at home, feel free to submit questions that you'd like for us to answer here on our panel. So to start off, I'm going to have you meet our panelists, our student panelists. So if I could have each student please introduce themselves with their name, hometown, your major, and your year in school. So we're gonna take this away. So one of you just jump out there and get excited about it.
Yeah, I can go. I'm Cheyenne. I am from Grand Rapids, Michigan. So like if you ever hold up the thumb, like the mitten, I'm like right here. I am a public relations major and I am on my third year at Northern.
Perfect. All right, who do we have up next?
My name is Joe. I'm a communication studies major and I minor in outdoor recreation. I'm from Gurnee, Illinois, which is like 45 minutes from Chicago, 45 minutes from Milwaukee, so it's pretty ideal. And I'm a fourth year student. Yeah.
Cool.
My name is Mandy. I am a secondary music education major. I'm actually in my last semester at NMU, and I'm originally from South Elgin, Illinois.
Cool.
Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Esther, and I'm an illustration major with additional studies in sculpture and metalworking. I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I'm a graduating senior.
Great. We've got lots of knowledge here. Thank you very much, student panelists, for introducing yourselves. Remember, at home, we have the Q&A feature, so if you'd like to ask us a question, I am going to facilitate making sure they get those questions and you get the answers. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to learn a lot, so pay attention, get excited. So again, thanks for being here tonight. Let's start with our panelists. We're going to have them tell a little bit more about their majors. And since there isn't a theater major here, I will talk a little bit about theater and dance. But so why don't we start off with Joe? Why don't you tell us about your major and your minor too, since you're in two different programs a little bit.
Yeah, so the communications program kind of, how do I kind of put it into something that makes sense? It's it's pretty broad. You learn about a lot of different topics and they kind of gear it towards your interests. So basically, you have your main courses that you kind of have to take, and then you have a lot of, different variety when it comes to like electives that you have to take. And you kind of gear those towards your interests. But basically, you kind of learn, the theories behind it all, behind various different forms of communications, like argumentation, public speaking, which is what a lot of people tend to think about first, is that it's just public speaking. But it kind of does also deal with like the psychology behind it as well. So you'll learn a little bit about that and kind of the mindsets that you have to get in. And also like little things, here and there. It's like it's a pretty big, broad topic, but it's very fascinating. And there's always something to get interested about. So I've always kind of loved that because it's kind of a switch up a lot. You'll focus on this topic for a little while, then you'll jump over and start learning about something different. But it's really cool. That's that. Want me to talk about outdoor rec a little bit too?
Yeah, and I think maybe even talking about how you've done your environmental communication concentration there with.
Yeah, so basically, so I have a geared towards interest towards outdoor environmentalist things. So they have one of their electives is an environmental communications course that I've taken, and you kind of learn a lot about all things environment, which I guess is a pretty bland way of putting it. But there's like tons of really cool topics that you learn in that course about the environment. They kind of deal with social justice issues with environmentalism. They deal with, you know, kind of like the different ways that they, you know, do their rhetoric with environmentalism and, you know, all that different stuff. So it's all the communication sides of, you know, the environmental change movement and all of that. But I mainly, so since I have that environmental focus, my outdoor rec is my minor. And in that realm of things, you kind of learn about, you know, recreation-based activities, the law, like the rules and regulations that go into it, and then the importance of outdoor rec and leisure in general, because leisure is very important to every person. It's good for the brain, keeps it limber, and all those things are really important. So yeah, so it's kind of a, you know, there's a lot to it. It's a really, really fun time.
Perfect. Thanks, Joe. Up next, Cheyenne, would you like to go?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, I'm studying PR at Northern Public Relations, but I specialize, like my concentration is in sports PR. So I have been digging deeper into the sports side of PR, but what we've been learning is really just like integrated marketing communications. So publicity, advertising, campaigns, marketing, everything like that kind of just rolled into one, writing press releases and stuff like that. I had a class last semester where we did resume building and learned how to do press releases. So very tangible things that I got to take out of the classroom. And I feel like that's the biggest part of my major, is where we get more tangible experience than just book learning. It's a lot of like add to your resume stuff. So it's really just learning about publicity, how to correctly do research, and stuff like that. And so when I said I was a sports concentration major, right now I'm in an entire sports public relations course, which is really just how to advocate for businesses and organizations in the sports world. So like right now we're learning about the White Sox and the British Premier League and different sports like that. But it really is just to maintain positive relationships between like organizations and the publics and the communities that support them. And that's what I push and thrive for in like all of our classes, is always that underlining thing, is that we just have to advocate for the community as well as the business that we're like hired to help. But yeah, that is PR. We have this organization, PRSSA, that also helps with that as well. So we get like a student org on top of that that helps, and it's a nationally recognized student organization that like partners with our school as well as the national organization, and just gives us, like I said, very tangible like things that we can take out of the classroom and help us get jobs and stuff like that.
And that organization is extremely successful, not only here on campus, but at the international and national conference levels. You guys have had officers.
Yeah, so we go to conferences every year. Last year, when like pre-COVID, we went to San Diego, California for the international conference, and they flew out different chapters from all over the world to this one place, and we all just networked and listened to a bunch of different people from a bunch of different backgrounds, and got to network with PR professionals all over the country, all over the world. And then this year it's a little bit different because we're all going to be doing it virtually. But yeah, we do conferences every year and just get to network with other like-minded people, which has been super successful and so awesome.
Yeah. Yep. Great. All right. Mandy, would you like to tell us a little bit more about your degree?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm secondary music education. I was told beforehand that this isn't an education panel, so I should focus a little bit more on the music side of things. So as for the music side of things, I've been in our university choir, which is a non-audition choir ensemble, so anybody can join that ensemble. I've been in the arts chorale, which is our audition choral ensemble. I've been in the marching band. I've been in our symphonic band. I've been in our wind ensemble. So I've seen a lot of them, though. The only two ensembles I think I haven't seen are jazz and orchestra, are the ones that I haven't seen from the inside. So those are all classes that any student can audition for, can join. There's no regulations on that. But if you are going to be a music major, those classes are typically required for you. Other than that, I've taken classes like diction for singers, which is basically how to pronounce Italian and German so that you can sing it. So those are fun classes that you don't really think about when you start that major, but all of a sudden you get there and you're like, oh yeah, that's probably important. Other than that, as for like the education side of things, even though it's a secondary degree, which typically means I could teach 6 through 12, I can actually teach kindergarten through 12th grade. So that's kind of fun. Being in my last semester, I am currently student teaching, so that's really fun. I'm actually in an elementary school in the Marquette area. So that's been a lot of fun with those students. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities in the music department, whether you're a music major or you're not. So get involved is always a lot of fun.
Definitely. Perfect. Thanks, Mandy.
Yeah.
Esther, would you like to tell us a little bit about your illustration major?
Yeah, so the illustration major is like you learn how to draw real good and you learn how to apply that. Yeah, you learn how to apply that to things like poster design, character art, concept art, book illustration, and like so on and so forth, like editorials for newspapers. So basically anything, like if you have a goal, like I want to influence people to be kinder to each other, you can find an avenue to apply illustration to that. It's very versatile. Yeah, and then like in the art program as a whole, there's a lot of emphasis in the beginning on like learning how to make things well. And then in the upper levels, you move into theory about why people make art, why it's important to our society, and why it's good for people, how to evaluate it. And then you get to learn all sorts of cool art history, and it's fun because there's a lot of tie back between art from like certain times and places and the underlying like social, political, economic currents in that time and place. So it's fascinating.
Definitely. Perfect. Thanks, Esther. I will talk real quickly. I'm not going to talk a lot on this because I am not a student, but I will mention about the theater and dance program. And along with music, if you're not a major and you're participating in the arts in your high school setting right now, you totally can participate without being a major at Northern Michigan University in music, theater, or dance within the ensembles, the productions, backstage, into the dance classes, and take the classes as electives or as a minor or non-minor, or major. Maybe you want to be a major. We'd love you to be a major. But it's definitely fun, and I think that you can have a great experience. The theater program has a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in musical theater, technical theater, and design. And we have a BA in traditional theater, and there's a BA in dance, and a BFA in acting is potentially on the way. We'll see. But lots of acting opportunities, lots of performance opportunities, as well as backstage. We do 10 shows a year. In the theater side, there's a couple of dance shows. We have 3 performance spaces on campus that are indoor spaces. So in music, they have the Reynolds Recital Hall, which is a beautiful space. In theater, we have the Forrest Roberts Theater, which is a 500-seat proscenium theater. We have our black box theater, which is our transformative space. So the seats move around, the audience moves around. That seat's about 125. And then behind me, we have our new, that's a stormtrooper potentially, but we have our Shoreline Theater, which is our new outdoor space, which is behind right there, the Superior Dome. So if you haven't been to campus yet, that's like the world's largest wooden dome, I believe.
Yes.
And it's pretty awesome. And there's lots of events that happen there. The marching band's actually been performing inside the dome virtually to audiences. So lots of opportunity to get involved within the arts, within communications, within PR, and the sciences. So and humanities. Okay, thank you very much for that information. I think we have a question. So I'm going to let our student panelists kind of jump in. 1 or 2 of you will answer, and then we'll move on to other questions as we progress. We only have 30 minutes left. Oh my gosh, where's the time going? So from Joe in New York. Hi, Joe. How are you? Would any of you like to elaborate on what your classes are like? Are there hands-on opportunities in your programs?
Mm-hmm.
Who would like to, who wants to talk? Cheyenne, why don't you talk about your program, and then Esther, you can go after, okay?
Yeah, so there are plenty of hands-on options in the PR department. We have 2 of the most amazing professors ever that like pride themselves on giving us some tangible work experience to like take out of our bachelor's degree. So there's an entire, like I took an entire course that is just like getting resumes, like proofread and ready to go, learning how to make press releases, graphics and all of that. So you like get all of that in one course. And then after that, every course like that you take in the PR sequence is going to have like something tangible to take out of it to put onto like a resume or add to a portfolio, anything like that. Right now I'm in case studies and we are doing 2 huge case study projects that can be added to our portfolio. So you're constantly doing stuff that can be added to a portfolio or a resume, very tangible things that you can like take out of my department.
Perfect. All right, Esther.
Yeah, well, like most of the classes you take in the art program are studio classes. So those start out with usually a lecture from the professor, and then the rest of the time is people working or collaborating on their projects. So it's like every day you should be getting hands-on experience.
Perfect. Yes, totally. The university is a hands-on experience here. Lots and lots of opportunity for you to get involved within the major and to seek those internships. And a lot of times the internships are connected within the community. Which leads us to our next question. So we have Kate from Detroit. Hi, Kate. What other experiences outside of the classroom have you had in your program? Are there internships or research or projects? Who would like to answer that one?
I'll take this one
Mandy,
actually.
all right.
Before we ended up recording and going live, Bill mentioned that we've gone on a couple trips together. So the University Arts Chorale, which is our audition choral ensemble, goes every year on spring break, the tour high schools. We've gone to downstate Michigan, we've gone to Illinois and Wisconsin as well, where we perform and try to recruit students for those programs. The choir, also at the summer after my freshman year, I got to go to Poland and Austria with the NMU choirs. That was a really fun experience. We got to go around and sing in a bunch of different churches and explore the countries. We were supposed to go to Italy this past May as well. However, you can imagine that did not happen. And we'll hopefully be doing that soon, but we'll see what happens there. But those are some experiences that I've had through the music department.
Yeah, oh yeah, and the theater and dance students are on that bus too. There's a lot of singing and moving, and 50 college students on a bus for a week going all around the Midwest. It's an intense experience, but we like it and it's fun. And it could be you. You could be on that. So, Joe, you would raise your hand?
Oh yeah, I kind of want to talk a little bit about. So I mean, it's not like anything extravagant like the trips. I mean, I'm sure they offer some things like that as well. But my personal experience. They kind of, through the communications department, we have the student radio station, which is a really cool experience. I'm actually the station manager of it. It's Radio X, which is on campus in the UC. And basically any student, any major can come in and host their own radio show. Basically every student that wants to do it gets an hour-long segment. You can host a show. And for people, more towards production, all that stuff, it's like a really good experience for people who want to go that route. And it's just like a lot of fun. You can do anything you want on it. Like you can play, there's one of the shows that we have is literally a guy who does D&D over the air and like streams it online. And it's like totally wild, but it's so cool because he gets like super into it. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. Like it's neat. But the creative possibilities are endless. You can do so much with it. So that's one thing that's pretty neat.
Oh yeah, and I think again, it's just Northern's full of opportunities for you to, if you want to do it and you're willing to talk to your professors. I know your parents tell you this at home, like, well, you've got to ask and speak up for yourself. Here, if you say, hey, I want to do this, professors are like, oh, let's get you connected and let's do that. So as a professor, I know I do that, and I would say most of these students have had those opportunities as well. Okay, we're gonna head on to speaking of professors, and here's a question that we have from Alex in Green Bay. How we doing, Alex? I'm a Lions fan, but I hope that one day you want to be a Bears fan. Yes, we have people from all over.
Bears.
It's hard. Packers. I know it's hard, people. So, what are your relationships like with your professors? Would anyone like to talk about that, and probably maybe even correlating it from high school to college? Yeah, Cheyenne.
So in the PR department, we have like just two main professors that teach like the PR sequences. And then all of your like extra courses can be other like communications majors, communication professors and stuff like that. But in the PR department, we have Jess Thompson and Tom Isaacson. And coming in my freshman year, I was very like confused on how to like ask professors for help because I didn't really have to do that much in high school. But coming in, I just had those two professors and they have helped so much with like joining PRSSA, the student organization. And also, like you said, just like asking for help to like get ideas out there. So my relationship with both of them has been really well because they do want what's best for the PR department and the students in it, as well as like the student organization alongside of it. So they both just want what's best for the PR department. So they do whatever they can at any time to make sure that we just like have everything necessary. So that's one of my favorite parts about my department is that I can go to those two at any given time and ask the wildest questions and probably get the wildest answers back, and try to like take my ideas as I say them and then they'll roll them into something more tangible for me and then they'll give me a direction to go into. So that's my favorite part about it.
Perfect. Yeah. Professor's success is when the students are successful. Joe.
Yeah, echoing that, communications departments, professors are some of the most like easily approachable or easy to approach people ever. Like super friendly, super nice. Sarah Potter, I've had her for a lot of my classes, is particularly just, really willing to go out and just open up and talk about herself and, learn more about you. Mark Chevy is another person that comes to mind. Mark Chevy, amazing guy. All the professors are super easy to approach and they just truly care about you. And that's the big thing is like, they really do want to like, focus in and like learn about you and what you want to do and what you want to get out of the courses. And like, they want to help you achieve that. It's pretty amazing.
Perfect. Does anybody else want to jump in or? Okay.
I think you covered it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty covered. Yeah. The faculty are definitely here for you. In the faculty side, I'm here for you. Mandy, did you have something?
I mean, it's pretty much been said.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll go to a next question here. So we have Owen from Chicago. Hi, Owen.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some Chicago people here. So what made you decide on a particular major, or did any of you change your major when you got here? Mandy, yeah, whoever, go for it.
Yeah, so I actually came to NMU because I wanted to be a forensic biochemistry major. And NMU was one of the only schools that I could find with that specific major. When I visited, I fell in love with it and I came here, and then within 2 months, my major was changed. I realized that I was not as good at chemistry as I thought I was. And that is important for that degree, let me tell you. I also had always really liked music, and wanted to teach it, but was kind of talked out of it. So also, if you want to go into theater, music, dance, anything like that, anybody tells you you don't want to do that, you're not going to make enough money. That's not true. Everybody can do it. If you put your heart into it, you can do it. Anyway, I did change my major and it was a super easy process. I got to talk to my advisor through the Academic Career and Advisement Center. Boy, that was hard. ACAC, as we call it. Yeah. And they helped me change my major really easily. They told me who I had to email to get my education portion of my degree changed. And it was super easy because they were super helpful with it.
Perfect. Great answer. Esther, do you want to say something?
Yeah. I'm an illustration major and I chose that because it's, very versatile, but I've also taken like all of the metals classes and and it's because I can. Like you don't necessarily have to change your major if you want to explore other area. Like you can take it as an elective. I also like did that with a little bit with theater and stuff like that. And I think that's been like exploring these other options has been really good because it makes me well-rounded as an artist and like just as a person. So.
Definitely. Anybody else want to? Joe, did you change your major or have you known from day one, or Cheyenne, did you?
So, I actually changed my major 2 times, and I transferred here. So my freshman year, I was at Illinois State and I was a theater major. And I like to go out and hike a lot, and Illinois State's a lot of corn. So I transferred up here, and I wanted to be more in like the outdoor realm of things. And I was like, I'm not really sure if I want to do the theater thing anymore. So then I became an outdoor rec major. And I liked that program a lot, but I wasn't really sure where I wanted to go with it. So last year I switched into the communications department. So I switched pretty late in the game. But it does give you, like what Esther said, a very large amount of knowledge and, things that you weren't sure you'd like, or, stuff like that, which is really cool. Like for outdoor rec, one of the things that they do is a stewardship. And so I got to go on a 7-day hiking trip in the middle of the winter, a UP winter, snowshoeing in the McCormick Outdoor Trek. And I thought I was going to hate it, but now I love it. Like that's one of my favorite forms of camping. And so you get those kinds of experiences when you change your majors and, all that, I guess. But it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Definitely. Cheyenne, did you want to jump in, or have you always been a PR major from day one?
No, I changed my major twice actually. So
Okay.
coming in, I was a psych major because that was like what I was most interested in high school. And then semester in, I decided that psych just wasn't for me. And then I did the complete opposite and went to marketing. And then I kind of shadowed a friend of mine and worked socials for the NMU football team for a semester or two, and just got like the fun part of marketing, which is PR. And then I switched to sports PR, and I've been there ever since.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great example of a lot of students change their major. It's totally okay. Northern has over 200 degree programs and concentrations and different choices for students to and then all the they have over 200 plus student organizations. So don't quote me exactly on 200 majors, but it's a lot of majors and different sub majors within that to really make choices and pivot. If you find that you're a semester in and you want to make a change, you can be successful in doing that and still graduate on time if you want. And there's also double majors out there. I've heard of a triple major, but I don't know how you do that. That's impressive, but
They're rare.
it exists. It exists. So, okay, we have talked about majors. I'm kind of weeding through some of these questions here. I appreciate all of your questions. Thank you. Okay, we have Will from Florida. What kind of student organizations are you involved in with your major, and what other organizations are on campus? Well, we led into that really well when I said there are 200 plus student organizations. So who is we talked about PRSSA a little bit, but is anybody in other student organizations, or do you want Cheyenne, do you want to talk about like the coffee thing that you do, or go for it,
Yep.
Cheyenne, and then we'll go to everybody.
So I'm a part of two student organizations. So the first one is BSU, which is the Black Student Union here on campus. And we do a lot of like diversity and inclusion events and voter registration and stuff with the upcoming election. So there's that one. And then I'm part of PRSSA, which I've already kind of mentioned, is the Public Relations Student Society of America, which is kind of a mouthful. But we do a coffee crawl annually. Couldn't do it this year because of everything going on. But it's kind of like a bar crawl, but with coffee. So we partner with the 6 of the Marquette coffee shops. There's a bunch of them, so we pick just
19 coffee shops in Marquette. So if you like coffee, you'll like Marquette.
Yeah, so we partner with roughly 6 of those, and we just kind of start a coffee crawl, which is, like I said, a bar crawl but with coffee. And you get a passport that you pay for, and then all of the proceeds from this event go to the women's shelter in Marquette. So all of it gets donated to them. And the price of a ticket is the price for a bed a night at the women's shelter. So it's like $13 is what you pay, and you just get those stamped, your passport stamped at every coffee shop, and you get a little sample as you go down the main street. And yeah, so we put that on every year. It's just a huge community event. There's different times that you can go, but it really is just like a huge bar crawl through Marquette, but for coffee.
Yeah, definitely. Who else is in a student organization?
Ooh.
Okay. Everybody just jump in. Mandy, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm part of 2 student organizations at NMU. I am part of Mu Beta Psi, which is the National Honorary Musical Fraternity. So we're a co-ed fraternity that focuses on on music and on volunteering. So we do a lot of volunteering at the Children's Museum. We do a lot of their science nights, the science of music. We volunteer at the UP 200, which is the dog sled races up here. We help usher concerts. We make sure that we go to concerts. So like we attend concerts, we attend theater events, those sorts of things. I'm also in one of our three sororities, on campus, Kappa Psi Nu. We're actually also a non-gendered sorority on campus. So we do have 2 fraternities and 3 sororities on campus. So if you're into Greek life, we do have that at NMU.
Cool. Great. Perfect. Esther, do you want to go?
Yeah, so I'm in the Student Illustrator Syndicate, which is like for all the illustration students to get together and share resources and help each other like with feedback on our work. And there's a lot of those different types of clubs for each of the majors in the art program. There's also stuff like Cosplayers Unite on campus, which is like, they go on trips every year. They hold a lot of bake sales. There's the Art Student League, which is like department wide, and they host stuff like bowling with the faculty. So there's a lot of stuff that's like available for the art students.
I love it. Also, Syndicate is the coolest name in a student organization.
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
sounds
it
like you guys are fierce. I have a feeling that's sweet. Joe, what do you know, Joe?
So, as I said, I'm in Radio X, which is the student radio station. I'm a member of Nomad, which is one of the clubs that basically brings up different bands. And it's pretty cool. Last year, we brought up Ghostface Killah. He's in Wu-Tang Clan. It was pretty awesome. But it's mainly towards kind of like alternative rock and rap and stuff like that. Not usually like the biggest names out there, but some of the like lower key bands, which is pretty cool. So basically, you get to like learn how to like the process of like getting a band, bringing them up to an area, and like basically planning an event, which is a lot of fun. I was also a part of Outdoor Rec. I think it's called ORP. I forgot the whole name. It's like a very long acronym. I always forget what it's called. Organization for Outdoor Leaders and Professionals, something like that. And basically in that club, they kind of like plan different events for, going camping, different sorts of stuff like that. And then basically kind of bolstering your ability to find jobs and all that stuff. It's a really cool organization. And it's a good way to get outdoors more.
Oh yeah, totally. I will just say quickly, there is a theater and dance honor society, which is called Alpha Psi Omega. And that is a fraternity, but it is non-gender specific. You come in, and it's not Greek life in the sense. It's more about kind of like Mu Beta Psi that Mandy mentioned, where they focus on performance. They actually produce their own student work, but then they also have fun. They do lock-ins. We actually do bowling with the faculty. We call it a 3P party, so it's pizza, pop, and professors. Yeah, I know that I'm a dad. That's a bad dad joke. Sorry. But they have a lot of fun, and all the student organizations have faculty advisors. So the faculty do take an interest in what the students are working on and try to support. And I will mention that if you're a planner or you like to want to see something, it's a 1-page form to start a student organization. So if you don't see what you want to be on campus, Northern is a great place for you to try something new, and you can just get a group of people together or one person and start a student organization. As well as they have the student finance committee. So there's actually a fund for things cost money. So Nomad or some of these different organizations, they want to bring a concert to campus. They actually go and request funds from this pot of money that's just for students. It's for things that students want to do. The money is actually decided on by students. So if you're into money or you're an accounting major, you could actually be in a finance committee if that interests you. Good for you if that does. It's not for me, but they have a lot of money to help students see their dreams come to reality. They've helped the theater and performing arts groups produce shows. Nomad, when you brought Ghostface Killah, I believe actually student finance committee helped fund that. So that's definitely a fun thing to think about as well. Thanks for all the shares there. That was great, guys. So we have a little bit left. I think time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions here real quick. So can someone tell me about student services here on campus? Mandy or Cheyenne, well, you guys lead tours on campus too. So do you want to talk about the student services? One of you, someone jump in.
There's stuff like the counseling center, which is anybody can walk in there. You don't need insurance. That's really helpful. There's stuff like student support services, which are intended for first generation and or low income students. So they're more social than the counseling center. They can offer you things like free printing, like they have a lot of social events through that. There's a lot of guidance and advising through student support services. There's the food pantry, which is free to all NMU students. And that's a huge help. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if times are tough for a paycheck didn't come through as much as you thought, or you didn't get hours there. They also have out the side the dean of students office free warm clothes and business clothes as well. So if you're on an interview and you don't have a business suit or something formal, they have those closets as well.
Yeah, there's also the Disability Service Center. So if you're like coming in with any pre-existing issues or anything like that, they can make sure that you're taken care of that way. Like I know a couple of people have test anxiety, so they have to be like out of rooms with people when they take their tests. So there's always options for that. And then if you are like a lot of my friends who like can go do winter sports, not me, but other people that I know do a lot of winter sports, and they seem to get hurt often, and they like can't take notes, that is always an option too. The Disability Service Center always make sure that you have someone in your class that can take notes for you, or you can take notes for a peer in your class that can't take notes. So that's an option for you too. The counseling service is already kind of touched on, and that's free and confidential for all students. So you don't have to worry about anyone knowing about what's going on. It's free and confidential for all students. And then there's like career services as well. Again, free and confidential, help you figure out what you want to do with your life or find internships or anything like that.
And practice interviews.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's the career closet, which you kind of already touched on.
Yeah, definitely. Did we cover it? I think there's a lot. We covered a lot. So that was great. So that question was from Cassandra. And then real quick, we have just a few minutes left in this. So everybody gets 1 minute, and just what is so this is from Joelle from New Mexico. What is I'm looking at the Q&A here. What is your favorite Northern experience so far? Or what has been your favorite Northern experience? So pick one fun memory. I know there's a lot. So I'm going to start with Esther. What is your favorite memory of NMU?
I live here all year round. So like after work, I get to go to the beach and just get in the lake, even when it's cold, and just splash around in the water and sing sea shanties like some kind of weirdo.
Yes, you can be who you want to be at Northern, definitely.
It's great.
Yes, and there is people do jump in 12 months a year. There are people that jump in December, January, February. Good for them. Good for you, Esther. I'm proud of you. All right, Mandy, 1 minute. What's your favorite?
Probably when I got to be part of Beauty and the Beast at NMU. That was a fantastic show. I got to play the pepper shaker, so that was a lot of fun. But that was the first and only show I've ever been in at NMU, so I do cherish that. I made a lot of friends doing that, and I got to work with the awesome Bill Dignight and other people on that show. So
yes, you were great too. Okay, great, good. That was a great one. Joe, what is your favorite memory or moment?
It's a hard question. There's a lot. I'd probably have to say that stewardship trip that I went on. It's 7 days out in the McCormick Trek, which is a beautiful area. It's nationally designated as a wilderness with a capital W zone. So it's literally, you're like in the middle of nature. There's no roads, no signs, anything like that, no paths. You're always off trail. And it was just, totally like you're in it. You're completely in nature and there's nothing else. And it's just like, you're so present constantly. It was just all those people that I was with just became great friends. And it was really an amazing experience. So I'd have to say the stewardship.
That sounds awesome. That's very cool. Yeah, you definitely can have an adventure here at Northern. That is for sure. All right, Cheyenne, what is your favorite memory or moment?
I would say when I got to go to California with PRSSA, I had never been like out of the Midwest before. So I got to fly for the first time to California with a bunch of my friends, which was super fun. And conference was done at like 4 p.m. every day. So then we had the rest of the night to just go explore California. So we just like went and shopped and went to the beach and just saw the nightlife. And like, I don't think I would have done that without PRSSA. So I got like a bunch of like networking experience. And I also had just like a bunch of fun in California.
Yeah, experience in life. That's definitely what it's about. Well, that is amazing. And I love all those things. So I want to give a big round of applause to our 4 student panelists and all their time here. So Esther, Mary, Joe, and Cheyenne, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I think we have a slide that's going to be put up here right now from Dina from Student Services. And this was our Northern Nights. And if you're interested in getting involved in more of them, you can look at, we have some on the 7th, we have some on the 8th, and we have some on the 9th, lots of different opportunities. Make sure to reach out to admissions. You can go to the nmu.edu and our Student Services website, and there's lots of information about Northern, and you can talk to more students or take a virtual tour of campus. You don't just have to look at the dome through my virtual background here. But I'll wrap it up with just saying we'd love to see you on campus. Northern is a place full of opportunities. You can be a big fish in a small pond. It's got lots of students. You're not going to know everybody, but you're going to know enough people. So when you walk through the hallways, you're going to see some friends. People are very courteous here. I always say you could leave your car running in the middle of the street and someone's going to make sure it's full of gas and put it over to the side so it's out of the way. Maybe put a coffee in it too. We have a lot of coffee shops. It's a great time here, and I think that all these students would say that. And the faculty are here. We want to be, our biggest success as teachers is you being successful. So our job is to create student opportunities. And I can say that my fellow colleagues here are excited to hopefully learn and teach with you. So, all right, I think we're going to sign off here. Thank you so much, everybody. And remember, it's always a great day to be a Wildcat, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again to our student panelists. So Esther, Cheyenne, Mandy, and Joe, good job.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.